Yo, yo, yo. What is up, everybody? Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Or good day, or good night. You know, whatever time it is for you. Hope everybody's doing well. We got more Divinity today, man. We had a good Warframe weekend. Shout out to our new community member, Shots, dude. Big, big assist in the Warframe department, man. Lots of help in educating, just on different ways to get some grinding done in the game, and you know, it had some fun gameplay, man. Love new people coming in and being cool members of the community and showing off their skills and knowledge in the games and stuff, man. It's really cool. So shout out to Shocks Plays, man, for all the assistance and being a cool individual coming in and playing with us this weekend. Very cool stuff. All right, man. So we got Divinity Day 20, man. Divinity Day 20 with our buddy Pinky. We might get a little bit of Warframe in right before we do Divinity today. Depends on when Pinky gets home from work. But we'll get, obviously, today's edition of Video Gaming News completed first for April 17th, baby. So let's go ahead and do what we do. Let's go dive in there and see what we can find out what's going on in the video gaming industry. Yeah, let's take a look. Take a look at this. First off, this is what we're listening to this morning. The good old Crypt of the Necrodancer vibes. This is a rhythm-based adventure RPG game, notorious for being a very good, very well-developed and loved rhythm-based game. So if you're into rhythm-based games and you haven't tried this, you should go give it a check. Also, the soundtrack is extensive and amazing for video gaming music. And if you're digging what you're listening to this morning, then you should go give it a check. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at. Okay. We went over this yesterday. Yeah. So Sega has now confirmed and has agreed to buy Rovio, which is the developer behind Angry Birds, okay? It looks like it's going to be a $776 million deal. It was reported yesterday when we saw it in the news it was going to be about $1 billion deal. It's roughly a quarter less than that now is what we're seeing. So it's not chump change, that's for sure. $776 million, that's a good chunk of cash right there, so we'll see what comes. We'll see what comes from it. You know, the Angry Birds IP and branding, it's not just games. They've really branched out over the years into a couple of movies, I think. I think they had more than one. And they did, you know, all kinds of different apparel and things of that nature. So but I don't recall seeing a whole lot of Angry Birds stuff over the past few years. So we'll see what Sega plans on doing with that title, you know. Apparently they've got some plans, otherwise they wouldn't be willing to invest so much money into Rovio. Not that that's all Rovio has in their portfolio, but that's the main thing, right? So we'll see what it brings for them. If you want a deeper look into that, which is, yeah, we took a look at it yesterday. Look at yesterday's news segment on YouTube, okay? I need to do that. Here we go. What's up, buddy? What are you doing, dude? How are you? How was your weekend, man? Bro, I love that that's like become our thing. It's funny, man. You know, there's something in my mouth. I don't like it. We got it. We got it. We got it. Okay. Gross, dude. It was a hair. I had a hair in my mouth, dude. yeah, yeah, I think it like got stuck in there, man. Yeah, that was gross. All right. Yeah, yeah, that wasn't fun. Did you like my reaction? I might have to clip that out, dude. That was bad. Too short? Yeah, dude, they always are, aren't they? Yeah, weekends are always too short, brother. I know, man. Um, yeah, I don't know. I guess with the hair growing out and everything, man, I'm probably leaning towards just having to be the Joker for or for Halloween. I mean, I guess it could be the Joker for Christmas too. Why not? It's too early, dude. I haven't had enough coffee yet. Um, the Joker's one of my favorite characters, but I've never been the Joker ever. I've never dressed up as the Joker. And I was telling my kids last year when I started growing my hair out, which was actually like kind of around October time frame. I was like, well, maybe if I keep growing it, I'll be able to just like be the Joker for Halloween. And then this recently I was talking about cutting it off, and my daughter was like, yeah, but how are you going to be the Joker if you cut your hair off, you know? So I don't know. Keep growing it, man. I guess I'm going to end up having to be the Joker for Halloween this year. Uh, we'll see. We'll see. I don't think will the Miss be Harley? Dude, she could pull off a pretty good Harley too, I think. My wife's not about dressing up though, dude, for Halloween. Halloween's not really her jam, so I don't think so. It would take I really don't think I would be able to persuade her. It would take the kids, I think, having to go hard at her. Yeah, yeah. Halloween's not really her jam, man. It's more my thing, and the kids enjoy it a lot too. You know, but she could pull off a pretty good Harley, dude. I think she could pull off a pretty good Harley. You know, she's she's got the build for it, and she's got pretty long hair, so she could do the pigtails. You know what I knew? You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, dude, there's some people out there that are amazing at the cosplay and stuff. You know, they do a really good job at the cosplay. It's really, really insane. Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't really think about it, but yeah, the wife could pull off a pretty good Harley Quinn, dude. She could. I just don't think she will. I just don't think she will. Yeah. Yeah. Not really your jam either. Yeah, I respect it. I respect it for sure. Yeah. I'm not all that big into like dressing up all the time or anything, but I enjoy doing it for like the stream every Halloween. You know, it's fun doing it for the stream on the Halloweens, and I've always loved Halloween. Halloween's like my favorite holiday, man. So like Halloween rolls around, and the first Scaretober, I was wanting to dress up, and I just got busy and never got a costume together. So that's why last year during Scaretober I did like the dual costume fake out, you know. Um oh, there you go, dude. Okay, well that would work too. Yeah, that's spicy, man. That's spicy. Um so that's why last year I faked everybody out and was like, "Oh, I'm Michael Myers." And then, I was actually Princess Leia underneath it all, you know. So that's why I did like a dual costume really last year, was to kind of make up for not dressing up that first year. And it was fun. It was fun. I don't know. I don't know that I'll ever be able to beat that one moving forward, but I probably need to go ahead and start looking at trying to grab all the stuff I'll need to be the Joker this year if I'm going to do it. There's some news on the ROG Ally Gaming handheld. Supposed to be like Asus's rival to the Steam Deck, I guess. Yeah, it was a really weird play by them to like pull it out during April Fools and act like it was a joke, and then go, "Oh, guess what? It's real." That was weird, but yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, well, which Joker? Look, man. That's a really hard thing because, you know, for me growing up, you know, whenever I really fell in love with the Joker was because of Jack Nicholson. You know, that Joker with you know Michael Keaton's Batman and Jack Nicholson. That's the Joker I fell in love with. And so there's this like weird conflicting thing for me where I loved that Joker. I loved that Joker. But then to me, dude, nobody beats Heath Ledger. You know, Heath Ledger's Joker was my kind of Joker, dude. That's dude, that was such a dark, uh, just a really really twisted character, and it was portrayed so very well by Heath, and that was oh man, I loved that version. That version was so good. Oh, the Adam West days, yeah, yeah. Yo, you know what's funny is, do you know who the Joker was based off of? The Joker, I think, was based off of like this real life dude. Hold on. Yeah, right here, dude. Conrad Veidt inspired the creation of the Joker. While his origins are a source of debate, it is agreed that the villain was inspired by the look and performance of a forgotten film star, Germany's Conrad Veidt, in a 1928 film adaptation of Victor Hugo's The Man Who Laughs. Isn't that wild? Or not like a real dude or whatever, but like this is where the character of the Joker came from. Apparently, was this original character? Uh, yeah, yeah, isn't it? Isn't that crazy? I just found this out not too long ago, and that's pretty wild, dude. That's pretty wild. But that's it, dude. I mean, you see it, and that's it, man. That's him. You know. And the fact that the Joker has become such a huge part of villainy, you know, in today's, you know, tales and everything, and he's maintained this same kind of look, and it's kind of crazy, but that's really really neat, you know. It was a silent film, dude, an old silent film back then, you know, which you had to. This was that was the big thing, right, back then with the silent films. Everything was you know, obviously non-verbal. You had to get the point across through, you know, those kinds of, you know, wild. You know, it was a lot of the laughs were from things that would happen. It wasn't through speech, and you know or the way somebody looked, you know, would be what creeped people out, not necessarily the way they dialogued or anything. You know, it's pretty crazy. And so I don't know, man. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do it yet, but I loved Heath Ledger, and the Joaquin Phoenix's Joker dude blew me away. I thought that was an amazing take on the character again, as like a kind of more in depth behind the scenes look at and I want to see more of this. Actually, I want to see more of the stories behind villains. You know, I want to see the story behind what made them who they are. I think that's a really really interesting take, and I thought it was you know, I know a lot of people weren't. There's a lot of people that loved it, and then there were some people that weren't too psyched about it. And honestly, I think it's a good look at you know how society treats some people, and what it can do to some people who actually need help and everything too. Though I think it's not just a play on, you know, the character themselves and what happened in the scene, you know. But I think that Joker movie actually was a really good look at what society does to some people that really need some assistance, and that assistance just isn't quite often isn't there for them, you know, unfortunately, and it just kind of pushes them over the edge. Um, so I don't know. All of those are very good to me. And the old, you know, the Joker. What was the man's name that played the Joker in all the old Adam West series and everything? I can't remember his name, but I've seen a lot of pictures of him like doing his mate. He was supposed to be a really really good dude too. And yeah, I mean, it's hard, dude. It's hard. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think my favorite would probably be Heath Ledger's. You know, it's hard not to love that one. It's hard not to love that one. Such a sad tale there too, but you know, real life wise, it really can. I think, you know, I think Heath was probably dealing with his own kind of demons and stuff at the time, and then taking on that role, I think, just really also pushed things a bit, maybe too far. Really diving into that role head first and everything, you know. So there you go. Yeah, Cesar Romero, dude. Yeah, nice, Ferret. Yeah. Yeah, sad. Yeah, it is sad. Yeah, he's very devoted to his art, and I think that it wasn't just the role itself that was the issue. I think that there were, you know, probably some underlying things going on there, that it was a combination. You know, I don't know exactly. I didn't know the individual, but it is sad nonetheless. Whatever the case may have been, it's sad. You know. But his role, man, was amazing. I loved it. I loved it. Probably my favorite. Probably my favorite. But dude, again, Jack Nicholson for me, that was, dude, I wore that VHS out whenever I was a kid, and that'll always have a place in my heart as like my kid love of Joker. And the Joaquin Phoenix's portrayal, I think, is very, very good too. I like that one a lot, but it's hard. I think it's going to be hard for anything to beat Heath Ledger's for me. So that's probably where I'll go with it. Something like that. Yeah. We'll take a look at this ROG Ally stuff here in a bit. 5 games leaving Game Pass soon. We'll take a look at what's going on there. We kind of hit on a lot of the PS Plus and Xbox Game Pass games coming and leaving because we're halfway through April at this point, so there's a bit of that transition period. Usually with Game Pass, we have games that hit for the subscription service at the first of the month and at this point right now, and then you start talking about the games that are going to be leaving for the next month, you know. So we'll take a peek there. Oh, baby, hockey playoffs start today. Hey, dude, Stardew Valley's getting a surprise update with new content. What? Yo, that's kind of wild because the last I had heard was Concerned Ape, which is the developer behind Stardew Valley, right? It's a single individual, by the way. This is an indie dev. It's a single individual. Even with the success of Stardew Valley, this developer has just maintained doing this all himself. Concerned Ape, and basically said that after about 10 years of working on Stardew Valley, which was about a year and a half ago, I think, it was kind of like, you know, I'm done basically with Stardew Valley, and had started working on the next game for him, which is Haunted Chocolatier, right? Which is very Stardew. It looks very Stardew, but it's different also. So this is kind of neat, dude. We'll see what's coming here for Stardew Valley, man. Yeah. Oh no, man. We might have to play now. We might absolutely have to play now. What, bro? What? All right, we'll take a look, dude. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised. Oh, whoa. RE2 and 3 remake. A recent update removes ray tracing. It must have been causing some issues, man. X Defiant closed beta may be extended. Okay. I mean, do you see these numbers? That's the expected gross for the fiscal year of 2023 for the console gaming industry. $21.2 billion in revenue. In revenue. They're expecting a 4.3% increase We'll just talk about it. We'll just talk about it. It makes me wonder about pricing. It makes me wonder about everything. You know, we talk all the time about the pricing of games. They were like, oh, it needs to go from 60 to 70. Then you've got all the monetization within. You know, and then you talk about all the other stuff they do in the console market. You know, one of the things that I find really scummy is that they make you pay for online play. You know, they make you pay for an online, you know, if you want to play online on those consoles, even though you've already bought into that platform, you have to pay for it too, you know. But they're making that much money. They're making that much money off of it, you know. You're right. Yeah. I mean, so all the way around with console space, I mean, you guys know how I feel about it. They want to keep raising prices. They want to keep taking away access to, you know, no backwards compatibility, rebuy. You know, but they're making that much money off of just the consoles alone, you know? That's a lot of money, dude. It's a lot of money. So we'll talk about it. They're big businesses. Don't get me wrong. They're big businesses. So I mean, you know, it's a lots of money goes into making them run and keeping them going and everything. Um, yeah, you're absolutely right, Ferret. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, if it wasn't for emulators, dude, the history of gaming would have died a long time ago. Actually, you know, um, in my opinion, emulators are the only thing that's really, for the most part, kept the history of video games alive for us, man. Because it's definitely not the developers themselves and these big developers of the consoles and everything, you know. The big glaring one for me is Nintendo, obviously, but we'll talk about it when we get there. I don't want to get too off track, I guess, until we get all these up. But I mean, it's hard to, you know, I talk all the time, you know, I get on these rants about monetization, the price of things, why it doesn't make sense to me, and then I mean, numbers don't lie, dude. You know, numbers don't lie. And while we probably need some more numbers about how much is actually being invested back into the company to pay for like resources like hardware to keep the companies running and manufacturing of the actual, you know, so for personnel, paying for personnel, you know, that work for the companies and stuff like that. I mean, that's only what they're making off of their consoles. That's not what they're making off of anything else. That's a lot of money, dude. Obviously, that was talking consoles overall, not just one specific console. That's still a lot of money, though. You know, so I don't know. GameStop's holding a buy one get one free sale. Let's go to our other search. We've talked about it. Not going to dive into this. We know what's happening. We knew it yesterday. It is official, though. It's official. Yeah, I know. I know. I look. I'm not a fan of GameStop either. I've heard some pretty trashy stuff about that company for a long time. But you know, if in the world of pricing being a rough thing for people to get around, if I can you know put somebody on the right path to maybe get a bit of a better deal on getting themselves some content to play, then you know I'll pull it up and we'll see. Yeah, I'm not a fan of GameStop. I'm really not. I've talked about it before. From the way they treat their employees, to like Yeah, I mean they do keep the used game market alive, but I would much rather people go check out like most cities, most medium-sized cities, at least have a shop or two of like privately owned resale and video game shops and stuff that you can go to. Oh, dude, they're really bad most of the time about the way they treat their employees. They've always been really bad about like doing stuff like this as well. There've been reports for years about how they would take a lot of their stock that they wouldn't be able to sell, and dude, they would just take it out into the back of the store and just trash it. They would actually destroy it before they trashed it. So they would take cords and they would rip cords out. They'd cut cords. They'd snap physical discs and stuff so nobody could come get them out of the dumpster and everything. And instead of taking all that stuff to like maybe donate it to like I don't know, like a children's hospital or like a youth center or anything like that, they just destroy it and just throw it in a dumpster, you know? So instead of trying to like do something good with it that, you know, if people aren't going to buy it anyways, and you're just going to get rid of it, do something good with it, you know? No, no. What they wanted to do was destroy it to the point to make sure that nobody could come and get it from them either, you know? Stuff like that. It's just bad. Bad company, dude. Just things like that that I've read and heard about them for a long time. I was like, you know, real made me real turned off about GameStop. So I mean, again, yeah, I mean, to have a you know a video game reseller and stuff is good for people, but at the same time, I would prompt people to go take a look at some of the more privately owned ones in their areas rather than go to GameStop first. Those privately owned ones are usually you know owned by people that are actually really passionate about video gaming anyways, and they're cool people to deal with. You'll get better deals in those places, and the more they see you around, the more they get to know you, and you know, you just build a relationship with those individuals too, rather than like a place like GameStop, you know. So that's what I recommend to people. Amazon's path to video game success is no fun. Look, dude, it doesn't matter who you are. I talk about this a lot. It doesn't matter if you're Amazon or Netflix or TikTok or whatever. You're going to try to take a venture into video gaming. It doesn't mean you're going to be successful just because you have a name and some overhead and some capital to invest in it. It's not necessarily going to be a real smooth venture into this industry. You gotta have a really good plan, and you gotta know what the crap you're doing, and you gotta know how to bring some good content to people. Otherwise, it's gonna be a rocky road for you. Right, right. Yeah, there you go. Perfect ferret. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I mean, I think the best thing so far that Amazon has done was brought Lost Ark as anything to do with video games. I think the best thing that Amazon's done so far was just brought Lost Ark to the Western hemisphere of the world. The Lost Ark, if you didn't know, for anybody that didn't know, Lost Ark was, you know, basically just an MMO that you could only play in like the Eastern hemisphere of the world for like the first 3+ years that it was out. So it was over in like it's a Korean game, so it was in like Korea, China, Russia, places like that. One second. Yo, it snowed last night. Bro, it snowed last night. So back to what I was saying, but Lost Ark. I'd known about Lost Ark for a number of years after it had released over in the Eastern Hemisphere of the world. It's a very renowned MMO RPG, and there are a lot of people in the Western part of the world that really wanted to play the game, and about the only way you could was through like a VPN, but they didn't have like a lot of different languages translated into it and stuff, and whenever Amazon worked with God, who's the developer behind Lost? I can't remember right now off the top of my head, but they worked with them to get it published over here in the West. I think that's the best thing Amazon's done so far. So it's not even something about them being a developer necessarily, but publishing. I think them bringing Lost Ark to the Western part of the world was a huge, huge, huge play for them, and it was good. It was good. Random emote time. Lost Ark was a lot of fun too. I mean, we played it for a good amount of time after it released. I had a lot of fun with it. So did some of the other community members. So I don't know. Funny enough, it was like what was weird about it was that Amazon initially had announced that they were planning on releasing Lost Ark here in the West right around the same time that they were releasing New World, which is also an MMORPG. And I was like, that's a weird play because, New World is their very own in-house developed MMORPG that they were also publishing. And then they were going to publish Lost Ark. And I was like, I was pretty sure Lost Ark was going to blow it out of the water. And then not too long before release, they were like, oh. And this was like at the end of 2021, right? They're like, well, we're going to push New World back. Or not New World. We're going to push Lost Ark back. So they ended up releasing New World in like October or November of 2021. And they pushed Lost Ark back to a release of like the end of February of 2022. End of February of last year. Dude, it's still hanging on there, I think. But the population of the game is just dwindled to almost nothing. Yeah, it's not very good, I don't think. New World it's there, dude. I mean, we can what's New World player base? So yeah, I mean, you can see like peak players for like March was 24,000, average players of 15,000. But so I mean, that might seem like a lot. But it's really not that much. If you want to get a look, so I mean, this game tanked pretty quick because they had some big issues after release. So you can see this is what it was at one release, right? You're talking average players in October. Yeah, released in October of 2021, right? October of 2021, New World released, and on release, its average player base was 410,000. The peak players was over 900,000, and then by obviously, I mean, anytime a game like this that gets hyped up, and it's gonna, you hit a real high peak initially, and then that's always gonna drop off a little bit. I'll show you New World as well, or New World Lost Ark. I mean, Lost Ark will do the same thing. About any game does. Just about any game does. So then you'll see like November, came down a good chunk, and then it really it just kept shooting down. And they had some really bad stuff happen in that game with the economy and stuff like that, right? Which really hurt the game long term. And you can see where it came back up a little bit about a year later after release, came up. I think they did like some expansion or something where they got a few more people back in, but you want to see like Lost Ark's numbers, right? Take a look at Lost Ark. So Lost Ark is sitting quite a bit above like where New World would be right now, like compared to what they were, like over 100,000 over just average. The jump in New World, I don't even remember it. Jumps are quite often really funny in a lot of these types of games, but you can see the difference, right? The difference between like New Lost Ark and New World from the amount of numbers that and again, anytime a game initially releases, the numbers are going to be really high, and then they'll come down a bit, and you see this from like 700,000 average and over 1.3 million peak on release in February of 2022 to down to like just under 450,000 average and just over 900,000 peak. And then it got steady for a few months, but I mean it's maintained a pretty decent player base over the past year of its release and everything, as opposed to New World. Really, there's not a whole lot of player base left there anymore. So I don't know. It's still there, man. New World's still there. It's just seems to be hanging on by a thread a little bit. You know. To be fair, I mean, Amazon's development, they tried some other games first that didn't pan out, and then they went for an MMO. And not that New World was like bad necessarily, but to dive into an MMORPG as like your first real in-house release, that's quite the venture, dude. And a live service, MMORPG, that's a big step, man. That's a big step, and so that's a tough undertaking for a studio as a first release. I don't know. Yeah. Not a whole lot of stuff going on today over the past day, anyways. Sony forced to reveal PlayStation exclusive deals. Yeah, we saw that was coming. PlayStation's not psyched about this, but they've been real adamant about trying to call the um, Activision Blizzard acquisition by Microsoft as anti-competitive, and then they're like they want to bring into the conversation how Microsoft has you know also on their side been trying to um, keep developers exclusive to them and stuff. So they wanted to get into that ball game, and now now they're being forced to show what they've done, and they don't want to. But it's like, man, you've got if you're gonna start, you're gonna start throwing darts, man. You got to be ready to take some back. Yeah, exactly, dude. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like you got to expect to play the game. You can't just be like throwing shots at everybody and expect nobody to be requesting the same thing back of you. And I've said the whole time, I mean, not that there aren't some like anti-competitive like points of what this acquisition would mean, but Sony, dude, this whole time Sony has come off as just not wanting things to change. This is a big deal for Activision or for Microsoft, and it's a big deal for Sony too because this is going to make Sony have to change the way they do things, which Sony doesn't want to do, right? There you go. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. That first one, fair, is one that my mother used to use all the time, and I've kind of gotten to where I don't really use it anymore either because people get so offended by things anymore. They're like, I don't want people to take that the wrong way. You know, I've thought about that over the past few years. I'm like, dude, using that saying is like something that it shouldn't mean anything like that. But there are going to be some people that hear it and they go, oh, well, you know. So, yeah, that's another one that that's like one I've started staying away from. It's such a weird time, dude. You know, even though it has nothing to do with like race or anything like that. I'm just afraid somebody's going to take it that way, you know. But yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the problem. That's the problem, right? And for me, just because of you know, I've come really close to saying that a number of times on stream, and I've kept myself from doing it because people will twist stuff, right? People do twist stuff, and it's like I try to be very careful about what I say, and I don't want to say things that people could contort or say, oh well, you know, try to make more out of what was actually meant by it, you know. Yeah, there it is. There it is, dude. Oh no. What's up, dude? So we'll see Wick for about 2 minutes here before he starts getting slammed with smoothies this morning. What's up, dude? Yo, did it snow for you last night, dude? It snowed here, bro. It snowed here last night. There's snow all over the cars, dude. Unofficial Redfall poll reveals majority want delayed release. Who Wick was? Ferret? Yeah, well, I think I might know what he was playing, man. Wick, what were you playing, dude? Was it like the terraforming one or whatever, where it's about? Yeah, I think I know what it was. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I know what it was. He's been interested in trying that out. If it's the one I'm thinking of, I can't remember the name of it either, dude. I can't remember. He's busy making OA smoothies right now, or he's caught in traffic. One of those two. There's a mod that turns The Last of Us into an FPS. Wouldn't really matter if it was for The Last of Us Part 1 because you can't really play that game anyways, but we've got that up already. Oh, it wasn't? Fabledom, huh? What's that, dude? Fabledom. Where'd you come across this at? Let's see this. Oh, okay. This already looks like a Wix type of game right here, dude. Bro, that's the trailer? Wait, what? Wait, what? Wait.
Now, where to begin? Ah, yes, concerning fablings. For as long
Okay,
as
here we go.
time, fablings have, much to their delight, been ignored by the harsher world. Perhaps due to their small frames, their round bellies, or maybe since they have a reputation for being, well, simple. As the world around them bickers and barks, fablings are quite content going about their days, farming, mining, fishing, and laughing. Actually, the only thing I've ever seen a fabling fuss about is what their home and its surroundings look like. Fablings really only care about 3 things in life: a place to call home, food, and love. Ah, love. An elusive magic, and one of the few things fablings are willing to fight for. Oh, you wouldn't think it looking at them, but there are quite a few stories of fabling bravery. But that's a story for another time.
Huh? Did you like it, dude? Released on the 13th, huh? I hadn't heard anything about this. People are enjoying it seems. Oh, they got a roadmap out and everything. You love to see that from devs, dude. Yeah, look, they've got a roadmap out that they're like following and everything. Nice. That's great, dude. You love to see roadmaps from devs. That's fantastic. Yeah, it's like medieval Sim City, dude. Yo, Reject, what's up, buddy? Medieval Sim City, dude. Is that what it is? That's wild, man. Huh. I'll have to keep track of it. I'll have to keep track of it and see how it's doing. Right on, dude. How'd you come across that, Wick? Yeah, it looks cool. It looks cool. It looks like Wick's kind of game for sure. What's up, Reject? How you doing, dude? Happy Monday, bro. One more page here. EA hit with wave of resignations, future uncertain. Yo, nice site. Outsider Gaming? That sounds perfect for us, dude. Oh, Suicide Squad killed Just League rumor claims some features being removed. A feature. Own news site and didn't tell us? Dude, you're part of it right now. This is the news site, dude. Yeah. Yeah. We just basically do like a vlog, dude, a video blog every day. The gameplay might be better than the trailer. Yeah. Word. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. That's what we do. We do it every day. You're part of it. Every day. It's what we do. Everspace 2 and Indie Triumph. Okay. Yo, what was that? Oh man, what was the name of the? I'll have to pull this up in a second. Cappy was telling me. Marvel World of Heroes. Oh, this is like that mobile title, right? We'll take a peek at that. There's like a TCG from Minecraft. Wow. That's it. Hermitcraft. Hermitcraft. Oh. Okay, hold on. Have you guys heard about this? Hold on. Check this noise out. Hermitcraft trading card game. Apparently, this is something that like. Oh, for real? Oh, that's wild. I didn't know that reject. Oh, that's crazy. So apparently, in Minecraft, there's like this whole server that got set up around this like TCG that got built within the game, and then the game actually got turned into a physical trading card game. Um, yeah. So Hermitcraft trading card game is a server wide minigame in season 9, created by Vintage Beef. Excuse me, Vintage Beef. For people who are familiar with trading card games, it will be like the Pokemon card game or a very scaled down Magic the Gathering card game. The Hermits are currently playing the game on the server. This is an online version of the game that was posted on Reddit. Um, so there's like this whole like TCG that got built up in Minecraft, and now it's like being turned into like an actual physical game. And I would need to read into it more, but that's kind of crazy, man. That's funny, man. Pretty wild. Pretty wild. Trailer's pretty interesting. Is it on is it on Steam? I'll pull it up real quick. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. Um, after I saw the individual that does, I don't like seeing the voice actors. I don't like seeing the voice actors that do the voices for the characters. I can't not picture them, the characters anymore. Whenever I hear them talk, I can't. All I can do is picture the voice actors afterwards. No, he doesn't. Not at all. No. And that's one of the things that really threw me off about Geralt. Last year, I finally saw the voice actor that does the voice for Geralt, and now I can't ever see Geralt anymore from like the games without seeing that voice actor, and it weirds me out really hard. Mark Hamill, yeah. I guess Mark Hamill's a bit different for me. Um, but I don't I don't know that I've dealt with like Mark Hamill in like a video game setting necessarily. So I mean, I guess it's so like the Batman stuff. I didn't even know. Well, like whenever I used to watch the Batman stuff, I didn't even know that he was the one doing the Joker's voice, and I haven't really seen any of it since. So it's not something I've really dealt with Mark Hamill. I don't think, you know. Um, and Mark Hamill, dude, he is really really good at changing his voice up. He's a great voice actor, by the way. So most of the time, uh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's I think another thing about it. But I don't really, I don't know that guy or that one guy that does Geralt's voice from anything else. So it's like every time I hear Geralt, that's just all I can see is that guy's face. Dude, he's really good. Mark Hamill's really good with voice acting. It's insane. It's insane. You know. But there's certain individuals that like I've known Geralt for a long time, from the games. And then it wasn't until like late last year that I actually saw his voice actor, and I was like, and now every time I see Geralt in a game and I hear his voice, that's all I can do is picture that guy's face. I'm like, oh, I don't like it. Not that the guy's like You know, no offense to him or anything. It's just weird. It's just weird because that's all I can picture is that dude. It's not Geralt anymore. It's that guy. You know, I don't know what it is. It's just that's the way it works for me. It's weird. And it's not. I don't think it's all the time. But for like that specific individual and Geralt's voice, it works like that for me. I don't know why, but it weirded me out a little bit. Yeah, let's see if we can pull it up. Spellforce 3, is that what you're saying? The Reforced one or whatever? Roach, dude, yeah. Oh, for real, Ferret? Yeah. Yeah, Reforged? Yeah, let's see this. Yeah. Oh, I've seen this, dude. Roach.
Nortander.
This is the worst flipping mount in any game in the history of gaming. Roach.
We know war. It has been at our side for millennia.
Okay, yeah.
With the indifference of the tides. Our most recent sprouted from rebellion. For reasons unknown, a mage by the name of Isamo Tahar gathered the noble houses behind him in an attempt to overthrow the crown. His magic brought mayhem. Arcane fires burnt towns.
Yeah, that voice is like, I mean, dude, it's like that's Geralt, dude. That's a hard thing. It's got to be rough for that individual, you know. All my pictures of Geralt. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's got to be a tough thing. It's got to be a tough thing to have that voice be so associated with a specific character, you know.
The Mage War was over.
I mean, it's got to be good, and it's got to have its downsides also, you know.
Now the people once more believe that their suffering has come to an end.
Because people love Geralt, you know.
They dream.
Well, obviously a dwarf.
But the tides.
Yeah, obviously, dude. Because they didn't, the dwarves, you know, they're like, yo, that's our jam, right? So it was obviously dwarves that built it. Come on. Nice, dude, nice. Build down, not up. Who knows? All right, let's get into this news. Oh, dude, there's nothing wrong with that. No, I mean, recent reviews are 90% positive. That's good. I think it depends on what kind of dwarf. You know what I'm saying, Ferret? What variation of dwarf are we talking here? You know? What species of dwarf? I think that determines whether they build down or up, you know? That's true, dude. That's true, Reject. Yeah. All right, let's get into this news, man. Unofficial Redfall poll reveals majority want delayed release to enable 60 FPS performance mode on Xbox. But there are going to be others that disagree, that are just plebs that have no idea what FPS actually does in an action game. I'm just going to state it. Developed by Arcane Studios, Redfall is an upcoming first-person shooter video game set to be released on May 2nd. One can enjoy playing this game on a Windows machine or Xbox console. The game is set on the island town of Redfall, Massachusetts, in which a legion of vampires enter and seal the town from the outside world after the failure of a scientific experiment. Players need to slay their enemies, both vampire and human collaborators. Bethesda recently revealed that Redfall would initially launch on Xbox without support for 60 frames per second performance mode. Yes, so Xbox Series X is only going to have 30 frames per second at 4K resolution, and the Series S is only going to have 30 frames per second at 1440p resolution. Gamers want Redfall release to be delayed. According to reports, multiple players are out of the view that the developers should delay that developers should delay the release of the game. The fact that the 60 frames per second performance mode will be unavailable initially has made them believe that Arcane Studios is rushing with the game's launch. I agree. They believe there's no point in releasing an incomplete version of the game even after a full year's delay. Yep. I was just getting ready to say this. Even if they do delay it now, this is not the first delay. It is also speculated the developers might take a while to release the update with the 60 frames per second mode. Understandably, achieving an in-game performance of just 30 frames per second on one of the most powerful consoles is not acceptable. Yeah. But you won't need your phone? Who knows, man? Maybe you will need to connect your phone just to get a little bit of a hardware boost to get it up to 60 frames. You know what I'm saying? Notably, some have even totally lost interest in playing the game after hearing the news. Yeah, understandable. Very, bro. And according to an unofficial poll where about 14,000 people have voted, the majority of gamers want Arcane Studios to halt the release until the performance mode is available. Yeah, look at this. Look again. I think and this is about what I would expect. There's about 25% of people out there that I think don't really understand the concept of what a higher frames per second visual setting gives you in certain genres of games, you know. And again, for, you know, over 10 years ago, 30 frames per second was a much more common visual setting. I would say especially over 15 years ago. But over the past decade, it's really been more common to be in a 60 frame per second. That's been the standard, about 60 frames. You know, and there are certain games where it doesn't matter. But any game that is an action-based game, whether it be melee-focused or shooter-focused or what have you, the higher the frame rate, the better. It's about you seeing things faster, being able to react faster. The gameplay is smoother. I can tell you for a fact. I mean, as somebody who has played games for a very long time, and for, you know, the past, I don't know, roughly 10 years, I've been, you know, I've elevated most of my gameplay up to a rate of, you know, 120 frames to 144 frames. There's a significant difference when you downgrade, right? But for those people that haven't gotten to that point where they've still just been normally gaming on like lower frame rates, they don't notice the difference as much. So I think that these are the people that are kind of saying this, that 30 frames is fine. You know, it's like, it's okay, because they don't really notice, they don't understand the difference, right? But all in all, I think what a lot of, is the game probably going to be playable at 30 frames? It'll be playable, but it's not going to be fun to play. Get Bobby Kotick to handle it. There you go. Yeah. It just won't be fun. It's not going to be a great experience. I think that's what these, all of it, and I'm in this right here as well. And I'm not even planning on playing this game. But I'll tell you right now, I was in the same boat whenever, you know, Gotham Knights came out and said, you know, the game's going to be locked at 30 frames. I was like, dude, that's not good. That's not good. For an action-based game to be locked at 30 frames, that's kind of gross. Especially in today's, you know, in the modern world of gaming, in the modern world of technology, these developers, there's something wrong, man. If your game is releasing in it's stuck at a 30 frame per second rate. There are games that it won't matter. You take a game, and I've been using this as an example here lately. You take something like Vampire Survivors. That's a game that your frames aren't going to matter that much, but or nearly as much anyways. Obviously, you don't want to play that game at like 5 FPS or something because it's going to look terrible. And anything, the higher frame rate you can get, the more smooth it appears, and the better the gameplay is. That's just the way it works, man. And to an even greater extent, the genre does matter. Again, any kind of action-focused game for melee combat, you talk God of War, you talk, shooter games like either third-person or first-person, you talk Destiny or Warframe or even into Call of Duty, anything like that. The more frames you have per second, the smoother it feels, the better your reaction times are, and it's just overall a better experience. That's why a lot of people are like, give us performance mode first. Give us the higher frames at a lower resolution before you decide to give us a higher resolution at a lower frame availability, right? This is where most gamers are at nowadays. They know that the more frames you have is a better experience for this genre of game. And, there are going to be some people that are just okay with it, but I think they just don't really grasp the concept of what a difference, and look, there's a significant difference. A significant difference between playing something at 30 frames and 60 frames. It might not seem like much, but doubling your frames up from 30 to 60 is a completely different thing in games like this. It is a totally different show, man. And then the same can be said for going from 60 frames to something like 90 or even up to 120 frames. Because usually if you're jumping up above 60 frames, you're going to 120 at least. You're not just going to be going to like 90. That's usually the way monitors work and the hertz and refresh rates and stuff. I mean, you can, but normally if you're going to be going above 60, you're going to be doubling up and going to like 120 or even 144. And that's even I would say not even as big of a deal as 30 to 60, but still very, very, very noticeable. And if you get up to that point and you start trying to regress and go down, I can tell you for a fact, playing games for such a long time at a high FPS, for myself, I'm almost always putting my games at a 120 to 144 frames per second. And when I go down and play something at 60, it's very noticeable to me. So if I go down and play something at 30, it actually feels disgusting. It feels gross. And I think that's where you get these people that haven't gotten to that point. They don't play at high frame rates very often anyways, where they're like, it's whatever, it's cool. Doesn't matter to me, So I respect it, but I just don't think that a lot, and maybe not all of these people, but I think there are a lot of these people that just don't quite understand that that concept all the way. Right, that's kind of what I was trying to get across. Like going from 60 to like the wow factor is not the same. It's not, you're not going to get the exact same. Like I would agree with you totally, fair, and that's kind of what I was trying to get across. 30 to 60 is a significant difference. It is a huge difference. And it is a massive change for your experience in playing a game. The change from like 60 to 90 or 60 to 120, it's not as mind-blowing. It's not, you still get, there's still a lot of difference. It's just not as, I think, visually noticeable to you as the individual as going from something to like 30 to 60. You still get, there's still a huge, like, it's like, I still notice it. I still notice, like going from 120 to 60, I still notice it. It's like not as smooth, not as clean. You know what I mean? But it's like 30 to 60 is going from like, almost like a kind of a janky view to like a nice smooth, you know, like, oh man, that looks so much better. It's like wow factor, right? And then like 60 to 120 is like, oh my god, dude, it's just like butter, you know. It's like even better. It's, you know, it's not as big of a change from like the 30 to 60. I would agree with that. But it's like just smashing butter on everything. It's just smooth, just gliding, you know what I mean? Right. Yeah, exactly, dude. I would agree with that notion. I would agree with that. But one of the things I would say is that once you get up to that fact where you're consistently viewing frame rates at a very high rate, you know, or a decently high rate above 60, you notice whenever more often than not, you notice whenever things drop. When frames go down, you know what I mean? You see it without any kind of like frame identifier or anything. You're like, oh, dude, things are lagging, things are stuttering, whatever. You know, the frames are way down compared to what I'm used to seeing. You know what I mean? You notice it more because you're used to that higher frame rate pushed out all the time. You know, and that's where I think that a lot of these people just don't necessarily view that all the time. Another section of players don't want the release to be delayed. Supportive of the company's decision, understand that modern day games require powerful hardware for a smooth and enjoyable game experience. It's not a part of the hardware, dude. It's not a part of the hardware. God dang it, dude. So here's as somebody wrote this. It's not the graphics. It's most likely a CPU issue. Does this game warrant those issues? That's left to be decided, but I doubt it's GPU related. It's easy to scale back graphics settings and resolutions. It's not easy to solve CPU limitations. And more games, Zen 2 is struggling to hit constant 60 frames, especially on Unreal Engine titles. The Hogwarts Legacy 60 frames mode is very stuttery and inconsistent. Gotham Knights is 30 frames. Both are open world Unreal Engine 4 games. This is what I don't understand. You want to talk about this? You want to talk about games that you know, talk about it being too hardware intensive, okay? Talk about it being too hardware intensive. Whatever. First and foremost, whenever I hear this argument, quite often, and quite often I've heard this argument across like games that have released both on PC and console. And the argument is that it just wasn't that, you know, the hardware, it was too limited, and so the game itself didn't run well or whatever. And it's like, dude, this game felt fine on console and felt like trash on PC. So you're telling me that the hardware was the issue, which doesn't make any sense because hardware on PC can literally be better than what it is on console. And you had people running like top of the line rigs that couldn't play some of these games. So I'm not buying this crap, dude. It doesn't make sense. If a game comes out across every platform and feels terrible, I'd be more apt to maybe accept that as a reasoning behind it. But whenever you have games that come out, and we have yet to see how this plays, but one of the other things I want to talk about is this game does not look great. It doesn't. This is not a game that is coming out with like this game's not coming out with like realistic kinds of graphics or anything. This game is not hitting a visual fidelity of something I've seen in a lot of other games that play just fine. So I'm having a hard time understanding why everything's being blamed on hardware whenever this game does not look very good. in my opinion. And I don't put a lot of stock in the visual, what a game looks like. But whenever we get into this argument of, oh well, it's a hardware issue, and I know part of this what they're talking about is like the underlying what engine it's running on and a lot of the CPU usage. It's not just a GPU thing and stuff like that. Okay, but right. They could have a point. And I'm not a game dev. You know what I mean? So I don't know for sure. But I do feel like there's a big issue with optimization. And I feel like there are a lot of devs nowadays that I'm sorry, man. Like it's hard for me to accept the fact that like we've been playing Warframe here lately, right? Warframe looks great. Warframe looks amazing. Warframe is a 10-year-old game that looks amazing, that from everything I can tell, it plays on every single platform absolutely fine. Plays very well at a good frame rate. And then you've got these games coming out brand new that don't even look as good as a game like Warframe does 10 years later that can't even hit a 60 frame per second rate. I mean, what's the real issue, man? You know? I keep hearing this argument of VRAM and stuff too, and it's like, man, I can't really buy it. I'm a bit more willing to let that slide because technically both the PS5 and Xbox Series X have more VRAM, so it's not unreasonable for current gen games to want to use a full 8 gigs of VRAM. This is a common developers are basing the recommendations off of complete builds of increasing power, not over what specific components are necessary. Yeah, I don't know, dude. They're not going to delay this. They're not going to delay it. But again, it's already been delayed. And they're not going to delay it again. But I don't know what's up with a lot of the devs nowadays. Like they've got some issues on there's there are a lot of devs that still do a great job, and then there's a lot of devs that feel like they don't know how to release anything optimized anymore. It's weird. Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing that's crazy is like a lot of times we see these games. Uh, I think the wild thing about it is you get these a lot of I feel like a lot of times what we're seeing it is these games are coming out from big developers that are having these issues, where we see smaller developers come out with games all the time that feel great. So I mean, what's going on? The bigger developers are the ones that have all the resources. They're the ones that have but it's like there's not enough knowledge, combined knowledge there to figure this stuff out. I don't understand what's happening. It's weird. But I mean, I think this shows you all you need to know. There's about 75% of people, three-fourths of people are not real happy with what's going on, and I think this is just a show for overall the gaming world as to how people feel about this kind of situation that is. I mean, it's happened before with Gotham Knights and this is where a lot of people stand in regards to this kind of situation. These genre of games, people don't want to see a frame lock of a frame rate that was standard 15 years ago. They don't want to see it anymore. That's not where we are, and it feels weird for people to be dealing with this kind of thing. So I think the majority of gamers nowadays are in this boat, man. whether you're going to play a game or not, people are just being outspoken about the fact that this is not the way anymore. I agree. I mean, that's a big part of it too, Ferret. Syke, what's up, buddy? I think you have to listen to the fan base, man, to an extent. Not everything, but there are a lot of people being very outspoken about this right now. This doesn't even address the fact of their other issue right now is the host only progression stuff. People aren't thrilled about either. Oh, dude, wow. Wowee, bro. That's pretty good. This mod turns The Last of Us into an FPS and it looks absolutely brutal. You'll be able to see The Last of Us Part 1 through Joel's eyes and experience the nightmare up close and personal once this first-person mode mod is finished. This PC mod is currently a work in progress, says creator Voyager's Revenge in their cinematic gameplay preview posted on YouTube. You can keep an eye on its progress via their Patreon page, and it already looks impressive. The problem being that you can't hardly play this game on PC because it's a broken mess. I mean, how are you going to be able to use this mod if the game just crashes on you all the time anyways? So here, let's take a look at this though. Bro, what? My bad. I clicked on the wrong part. Yeah. Yikers, dude. Night, dude. That's gonna be a rough go with no reticle, dude.
The Last of Us Part 1 in first-person mode. This PC mod is currently a work in progress, but if you want to keep up to date, make sure you like this video, leave a comment.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
To the channel,
dude. The mod community is wild. They do some crazy stuff. I was hoping to see how it was gonna like zoom into him right there. That's wild. Here, I'll link it for you guys if you want to watch the whole thing. Mod is 5 FPS though, yeah, unplayable. Well, I mean, dude, so if you didn't know, by the way, this is one of the most recent examples of a terrible, terrible release on PC, dude. The Last of Us Part 1, 52% positive of 17,000 reviews at this point, and that's better than it was previously. It was, I mean, it's just getting wrecked, dude. Apparently this game is just in a terrible, terrible, terrible state on PC. So it's just like the most recent example of like developers releasing games on a platform that it's not ready, dude. So just like constant crashes, stuttering, frame issues, like all kinds of bugs and just real gross, man. Really gross. I don't know, man. Last of Us Part 1's PC launch was mired in performance issues, but that hasn't stopped dedicated community modders from making the game their own. Particular mod swaps out the third-person perspective to put us in Joel's stressful shoes. Bolstered by a custom difficulty setting, you can even play it in brutal combat mode to up the ante. Cool. From the nearly 10-minute-long gameplay showcase above, we can see how the mod totally reframes our perspective on the action. Not only can you batter your foes with melee weapons, but blasting the infected to bits with a shotgun looks especially satisfying in FPS mode. Cutscenes haven't been given the first-person treatment, but the combat makes good on the promising first-person photo mode shots we've already seen. The showcase also demonstrates Joel's revolver trick shots, melee takedowns, and some gnarly assault rifle headshots. There's no sign of a crosshair. Yeah. Going the free aim approach, it seems it's just a case of lining up the tip of your weapon on screen with the enemy in front of you to ensure your shots land. Like all PC mods, it won't be available for download if you're one of the lucky ones who got to play The Last of Us Part 1 on PS4 or PS5. So it's something to keep an eye on if you're already looking to give the game a little facelift. Cool. Right on. If you need links or anything out. Wait, what? You just trying to get me ranting? Hogwarts Legacy. Yeah, bro. Fantastic. That's what we need to start calling it. I didn't even read that right. My bad. Nice, dude. If you haven't, check out this one. Texture update for Breath of the Wild. Oh, really? That's funny, dude. Nice, Psych. Well played, man. Well played. What is this noise, man? 5 months ago. Yeah, Jesus, that looks good. I mean, look, this has been one of my issues with the Switch for a number of years now, right? Is the hardware in the Switch is beat, dude. It's old. So what the Switch is going on like 7 years old at this point, and the hardware in the Switch is going on 8 years old. So this is definitely not something that you would be able to get done on the Switch. This looks great, dude. Like the foliage and everything, it looks amazing. It looks really, really good. It's not even close to something you'd be able to get done on the Switch. There's no flipping way. What are they? Yeah, 40 on a 4090. Yeah. I mean, everything looks amazing. Yeah, it looks great. But this is what I've been talking about. You know, the Switch, while it's been an amazing console, dude, it's dated. Well, it might just be because, you know, they were just focusing more on showcasing what, you know, an enhanced graphics setting could do overall for the game, not on, you know, that type of thing right now. I mean, I think I see what you're saying a little bit. I can't tell if it's like actually the way he's running or maybe the armor he has on or something. Right, yeah, that's what I was trying to get at too, Faraday. Yeah, it was just something to show off, like it didn't have any kind of additional effects on the gameplay movement, anything like that itself. It's just to show off enhanced graphics and everything. So you know what I'll note right there though? I didn't see any kind of lagging in the Korok Forest there. And you will not play that game without experiencing lagging on the Switch, dude. Oh, that looks great. Yeah, it looks so good. That out in the distance though, show that again. Oh, look at that. Oh, dude, that was getting really weird out there. Yeah, they've got some work to do on this still. Ooh, gross. Look at the background. It's really affecting the background terribly. Like the real distant background stuff. You were waiting on that? Yeah. Yeah, there are just certain towns and the Korok Forest and stuff that just were so laggy in the game. And I'm waiting to see how much you're going to experience that in Tears of the Kingdom as well. Yeah, that dragon looks terrible, by the way, right now. I'm not seeing it here, dude. I'm not seeing it. This does not look... It looks washed out. It just looks bad to me. Right there. Yeah, maybe Ferret, but... We'll see. Again, I mean, dude, the Switch hardware is old. We'll see what they're able to get done with it. Yeah, some of this looked good. I mean, I've been saying this for a long time, though. Obviously, something like the Switch, for me, is not going to age as well as, like, a traditional console. Traditional console, right? Traditional console is using big, chunky, power-hungry hardware in it, and while mobile hardware, you know, has come a long ways, it's still not the same thing, and so it's not necessarily going to age quite as well as big, chunky hardware is. And so I've been talking for quite a while about the fact the games on the Switch have looked old to me. Even brand new games that come out look old, and they look dated to me. Nintendo's gotten away with it for a long time because they play to a different kind of theme. You know, it's not, they're not playing towards that more realistic visual setting that a lot of the Xbox and PlayStation games do. It's more of a animated kind of fun art style quite often in the games that you get off of Nintendo. So it's worked okay for them. They've been able to drag it out a bit longer, but I'm telling you, I can see it. There's just a lot of janky, jagged kind of stuff going on in their visual stuff in their games, and it looks old to me. It just looks old. And I've been talking about how they need new hardware for their games for a long time. And I've seen stuff coming out here recently too, about developers talking about how their process is being hindered by the hardware itself also. So I don't know. I think this just shows like there was some stuff in here that looked really good, and there was some stuff that also did not look very good to me. But I mean, it's just a texture pack. It probably needs more work and everything too. That area with the dragon and stuff looked just washed out. Everything just looked washed out. It didn't look like there was a lot more like detail in it or anything to me either. So that area didn't look very good to me, honestly. But a lot of the other stuff looks pretty solid. Thanks for sharing, man. Yeah, it didn't look great. Yeah, they needed to work on that some more. Um, yeah, we talked about that. EA hit with wave of resignations, future uncertain. EA, leading video game developer and publisher, has recently been hit with a wave of resignations from key personnel. The departures come as a surprise and leave the company's future direction uncertain as EA loses valuable talent and experience, or questions arise about the company's ability to maintain its position as a gaming industry leader. Yeah, we've read about a lot of people that have left, you know. We know that they've got a lot of stuff coming through EA, and they always do. EA always has a lot of titles they're working on, and I don't know. It might not affect. I don't ever expect a whole lot out of EA anyways anymore. So I don't know. The wave of resignations at EA raises concerns about employee morale, company culture. As more employees choose to leave, it may indicate dissatisfaction with the work environment, management, or overall direction of the company. This situation could lead to further departures and challenges in attracting new talent to replace those who have left. Yeah, I don't know. There's not as much in this as I thought they would probably include, but it's not like this would be the first time we've seen a large company start shining through with some of the bad workplace culture, and as a result have a lot of people leave and maybe even result in some lawsuits and things like that. You know, I expect nothing, and I'm still disappointed. That's a perfect quote, dude. That's the perfect quote. God dang, dude. Oh man, yeah, yeah, yeah. EA sure expects a lot out of your wallet. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They do, man. I don't know. Yeah, we have read about a lot of high profile employees that have left there here recently, though, and I don't know. It's they're a big company, man, and I have a feeling they're just going to keep doing what they've been doing, you know. So it's I don't think a whole lot's going to change for them really. They'll just keep monetizing the crap out of everything and talking about how multiplayer games are what everybody should be playing, even though they're better at making single player games. And, you know, sticking their foot in their mouths, and you know. Yeah. I expect nothing, and I'm still let down. Yeah, yeah. Both work. Both work. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League rumor claims controversial feature is being removed. So a few days ago we found out that Suicide Squad is now going to be delayed until sometime next year, after already having a number of delays. I don't know. I mean, we talk a lot about delays are needed and delays are warranted, but whenever we see numerous delays coming up, it can also be a red flag, So at this point, it's starting to feel like maybe this game is having some significant issues internal, and I was already going to stay away from it because there's just too much monetization going on with it that feels real gross to me. But we'll see. The delay came after weeks of rumors as well as lots of frustration from DC fans. Part of that frustration came from a requirement that forced players to be online to enjoy the game regardless of whether they played in single player or multiplayer. According to a new rumor from Jez, coordinate of Windows Central, part of the game's delay relates to that requirement. The team will spend the coming months to remove it or rework it. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Same kind of requirement that is supposed to be part of Redfall, right? Pretty sure. Same requirement there also, which is like have to be online to play the game, even in single player and everything. And a lot of people have been turned off by that. So, looks like they're gonna try to get rid of that. All right, that's all it's really talking about. So they're trying to save a little bit of face here by getting rid of that online only requirement there, I guess. There's a lot of other concerns in regards to this title specifically, though. So we'll see what happens moving forward. Everspace 2 and Indie Triumph. Over the course of the last few years, games big and small have ventured out into the infinite darkness of space, whether that focuses on getting there, moving through it, escaping it, or building within it. Space has always been a clean slate that inventive developers can use to create their own stories and create a narrative that, from top to bottom, embodies everything that video games have been trying to be for the last 4 decades. Between the horrors of Dead Space, the exploration of No Man's Sky, and the RPG wackiness of the Outer Worlds, games centered around space have been some of the most unique experiences in gaming. With titles like Starfield and Homeworld 3 around the corner, it doesn't appear that the space race is slowing down. While most of those experiences are from gigantic studios with tons of manpower, sometimes the indie space dives in with the juggernauts of the industry, and they put the love and care into their titles as necessary to make something exceptional and wholly unique. Everspace 2 is one of those games, featuring some of the best spaceflight combat available, whether you're someone who grew up with titles like Star Fox or simply saw Luke take down the Death Star and wanted to follow suit. Everspace 2 looks to give players groundbreaking experiences all from the pilot's chair. Nice. Boasting over 5,000 reviews in early access with a very positive rating and over 2 million views on its early access trailer, developer Rockfish Games is making some noise in the industry with the upcoming full release right around the corner. As the team looks to build on the success of the first release with this sequel, Everspace 2 is crediting fans with making it very clear when they're missing something, and the demand for thrilling space shooters of old allowed the team at Rockfish to fill that void, and gamers all over jumped in. Everspace 2 is the game we wanted to make when we first started Rockfish Games, Shade stated while discussing the changes from the first Everspace release to the sequel. With the first game, we turned the roguelike mechanics to save on development costs and timelines, but Adam's story as a clone really captured us. As we moved to more of an open-world action RPG, we continued to explore what it means to be a clone in a galaxy full of human and alien kind. As an indie success story, Everspace as a franchise is growing and expanding with tons of support from fans, as well as the German government, who is offering a grant to the development team to continue working on this ambitious project. Nice. While the future looks bright for this fast-paced single-player space shooter, Everspace 2 looks to offer players dozens of hours of fun while taking them through different war-torn star systems with so much content to experience and explore. Dangers await in every corner of the universe. Level up, mine, craft, and loot better gear to survive on the edge of space. Everspace 2 will launch on PC platforms on April 6th. So 10 days ago? What? What's happening, dude? A console release on Xbox Series X and S and PlayStation 5 is planned for summer of 2023. Everspace 2 is currently in PC Game Pass game preview. We'll continue on the service with the full title after launch. Hold on, dude. Let's make sure. I like the article was written on the 16th and said the game will release on April 6th of 2023. All right, hold on, dude. Yeah, so it did release, is what it should have stated. I wasn't sure if they were like meaning like maybe next month or something, but yeah.
Like the one you just brought to me.
Yo, people are digging it.
It calls me.
They've got a demo as well.
Not on any wavelength I know.
What do I care about another damn war? That's my fortune out there. I've waited too long for
Potty
it
mouth.
What you see is an opportunity. What I see is something sacred.
X-Wing, dude. That was an X-Wing. What the crap?
Any knowledge of your existence. And as a fugitive Roslyn clone, I will be obligated to hunt you down.
Blakemore is obsessed with archaeology. The interest goes beyond historical.
You want to play the hero? Here in the DMZ, I call the shots.
Spooterbot. Nice, man. Cool.
There are moments where I think our disparities are gone. This is not.
Cool, 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 man. Cool, cool. Yeah. If you need more out of it, I'll link it. Looks like the game's doing well. People are enjoying it. And you like Space Jams, dude? Probably worth a shot. Marvel World of Heroes soft launches in select regions. Here's how to download and play. This is a mobile title, I think. Excuse me. Yeah, Marvel and Niantic announced together to produce Marvel World of Heroes back in September of last year. This year, the entire world will be introduced to the game. A mobile AR game that brings the well-known Marvel universe into the real world. And now the developers Niantic have just announced the game Marvel World of Heroes has entered soft launch in New Zealand and is now available to download on the Google Play and Apple App stores. It allows you to design your own superhero persona. What about supervillain, though? Marvel game in which players can design their own unique Marvel superhero. Marvel World of Heroes innovates by integrating gaming into the real world in the way that only Niantic games can. In this multiplayer video game, players battle Marvel super... Dang it, dude. Players battle Marvel super villains and interdimensional threats alongside their friends and famous Marvel superhero allies. In the game, players create their own unique superhero avatar and narrative. Players will need to police their local communities in order to end crimes, complete superhero missions, and thwart interdimensional dangers. In order to defeat famed supervillains and protect the universe from cosmic and terrestrial threats. Players can level up and acquire new tools and talents, team up with Marvel superheroes like Spider-Man, Wolverine, Captain America, and others, and earn new equipment and skills. As Marvel World of Heroes opens for a soft launch, players around the globe can download and have a look at what the game offers. During the installation, some players might face problems due to country restrictions. Please follow the steps given here. You'll be able to install and play Marvel World of Heroes easily. Follow these steps to get a hand on the new title with ease. They've got all the steps right here. Yeah, dude. What about villains, though? Hungry, chat. Big boy needs food. His hair is getting long, dude. Look at this stuff. All right, I'll link it for you. For all you wannabe superheroes out there. This is the Hermitcraft stuff we looked at. GameStop's holding a big buy one, get one free sale for the next week on select products. Buy one, get one free. Now selling a select group of roughly 40 games as part of the buy one, get one free offer. Some of the games that can be picked up in this promotion have only been out for a handful of months and include exclusives from Nintendo and PS5 platforms. Per usual, with these types of sales, the item that has the lesser value of the two will be the freebie, while purchasers will need to outright buy the higher priced game. Just a handful of the most notable titles included in this GameStop sale. Gotham Knights, Octopath Traveler 2, Skyward Sword HD, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Bayonetta 3, Forspoken, Callisto Protocol, Mario Strikers Battle League, Elden Ring, Saints Row, which the new one, I'm guessing, which also wasn't supposedly wasn't very good. Call of Duty Vanguard, Battlefield 2042, Marvel's Midnight Suns. Funny enough, dude, Marvel's Midnight Suns is supposed to be a pretty good game, but it didn't sell very well. This is Firaxis. It's very XCOM, which is what Firaxis is known for also. But it includes like a card game kind of mechanic to it too. But it's all Marvel heroes and villains and stuff. And it's supposed to be very good. Deathloop, funny enough, that's Arcane's last title before what they're trying to do now with Redfall. And it was supposed to be pretty decent. Like a Dragon Ishin. It's worth noting that the big caveat with this new sale on GameStop is that purchasers will be required to buy new versions of all these titles to qualify for the deal. Even though pre-owned games are often cheaper at GameStop, these used titles aren't being included in this sale. Luckily, many of the games mentioned above have already been discounted by just a bit, which means that the difference in price isn't that drastic between new and pre-owned. All right. So if you've got GameStop in your area, you're looking for any of these titles, might be worth a check. Okay. Another 5 games will leave Xbox Game Pass soon on April 30th. The 5 games leaving are Bug Snacks, Destroy All Humans, Dragon Quest Builders 2, Tetris Effect Connected, and Unsold. All right. If you're interested in grabbing any of these titles and you're already a Game Pass member, you can get a discount of 20% off these titles before they leave Game Pass if you wanted to own them outright. Okay. I'll link this for you also. Here you go, guys. Stardew Valley is getting a surprise update with new content, though it will be much smaller than 2020's expansion sized 1.5, okay? Eric Concerned Ape Barone, the creator of mega hit farm builder RPG Stardew Valley, announced via Twitter that the game will be receiving a 1.6 update. Though Barone qualifies that it's mostly changes for modders and much smaller in scope than the 1.5 edition, it will have new content and is a large enough project that Barone is taking a break from working on the upcoming Haunted Chocolatier to deliver it. There is going to be a Stardew 1.6 update, mostly changes for modders. Yeah, this is the tweet for it and everything. For added context, the 1.1 through 5 updates all featured new content for Stardew Valley, with 1.5 being practically a full-on expansion, including quality of life changes, new farm, and huge additional in-game area. Last update period was 1.5.6 at the end of 2021. Had a few supplemental hot fixes at the beginning of 2022. The update was limited exclusively to bug fixes, however. Barone's planned changes for modders are also interesting, especially since Stardew already has a robust mod scene as it is. Ease of use is one thing, but I'm curious as to what experienced modders will be able to accomplish with more powerful tools. Perhaps we will witness powerful new physic frontiers of messing up your grandpa's deathbed. I wouldn't read too much into the developer's break from working on Haunted Chocolatier just as before. It's coming when it's done. As for when we can expect to see Stardew Valley 1.6, I can't imagine the wait will be overly long. For more on Barone's follow-up to Stardew Valley, you can check out their hub with everything they know currently about Haunted Chocolatier. We've taken dives into what's already known about Haunted Chocolatier, so I'm not going to hit on it. But if you need it, here it is. And that's cool for all the Stardew Valley fans, man. Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes have important graphics feature removed after update. A recent update to the RE2 and 3 remakes removes the ray tracing feature from both games. User Adende the First started a thread on the Steam page for the Resident Evil 3 remake. In it, they asked, did ray tracing disappear after the most recent update? They explained that after the recent update, they took a look at the game's graphic settings. There they noticed the ray tracing option was outright gone. They added that they were running the DirectX 12 version of the game, and as such, that couldn't be the source of the problem. As it turns out, it wasn't an isolated incident. User El Neko replied that the option was missing for them too. Captain Cole added that other than ray tracing disappearing, high dynamic range was also broken for them. Biggest revelation, however, came from Simone the One, who said that this was also the case for the Resident Evil 2 remake. According to them, the recent update to RE2 also removed its ray tracing and broke its HDR. Players have theorized that this is likely due to a problem on Capcom's side. Some users theorize that someone may have pushed an older version of the game that did not support ray tracing for download. Others were wondering if this was because of an internal problem. Still, others were actually fine with it disappearing and said that people should just play the DX11 version of the game. It ran more smoothly anyways. No official statement from Capcom yet, but maybe we'll see something come soon, okay? X Defiant closed beta may be extended due to technical issues. I'm bummed that we've had so many issues, wrote the game's director. Ubisoft shared that it may extend the ongoing beta for X Defiant following a number of issues that have made playing the shooter difficult. X Defiant's closed beta kicked off for selected participants last Thursday, but technical errors, maintenance downtime, and server issues have meant the shooter has not been wholly playable. Dude, Ubisoft is just a hot mess. In response, Mark Rubin, the game director and executive producer at Ubisoft San Francisco studio, has revealed a full server configure replacement is being carried out and may result in the beta being extended. Current PC and PS5 versions of X Defiant have received the update and are seeing better performance overall despite outlier issues. Today, Rubin shared that Ubisoft is hoping to hear from Microsoft tomorrow regarding X Defiant's Xbox patch. The beta was originally meant to end on April 23rd. Changes could see the testing period extended. Yeah, I mean, obviously, so quoted as saying, and I know this is a beta, it's good to get all these issues out of the way now rather than later, but still wanted everyone to have a great time. Bummed that we've had so many issues. So that's one of those things, like, obviously, betas are meant to be, I mean, it's a testing phase. Anybody playing a beta should go into the beta knowing that you're going to experience some issues. But you should also be able to experience the gameplay for the most part, without significant issues overall. And that's that's more alpha status. Alpha gameplay is where you're going to have more of the significant issues to work through that affect a lot of the gameplay. Beta should have a lot of that stuff worked out to where you're testing a game and trying to find some more of the flaws and kinks that you want a lot of people playing and reporting on to get it fully polished, and for people to have a really tough time playing the game in a beta doesn't feel good. Console gaming market to gross $21.2 billion in revenue in 2023. More than 246 million consoles shipped in 5 years. While PCs remain the number one choice for serious gamers, gaming consoles continue to grow their global user base. They're easy to use, simple, and costless. I mean, that's the big thing. That's where console is, that's where they win. People that don't have the time or knowledge or, want to dive into the PC space because it is a space of gaming that you have to have a little bit of know-how and technical prowess or at least the drive to want to learn about being able to maintain a PC for gaming and deal with certain types of issues and things. The console space is plug and play, man. It's very easy. And that's where they win over people quite often, you know. And it's, as stated here, it remained one of the biggest drivers behind the entire market's growth, right? So, yeah, Nintendo holds more than 50% of the console gaming market. So, I mean, that's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money. While millions of people worldwide play console gaming titles, the U.S. remains the largest single market for this type of gaming. In 2023, the U.S. market is expected to gross over $7 billion alone in revenue, or 1/3 of this year's total. Japan ranked as the second largest console gaming market with $2.3 billion in revenue. With over 50% market share, Nintendo is the absolute king in the console gaming segment. While its Switch became the second best-selling console of all time behind PlayStation 2, between October and December of 2022, the Japanese gaming giant shipped 8.2 million Switch consoles, bringing the total lifetime unit sales to 122.55 million. I don't know, man. This is the thing that's so crazy to me. The amount of it's not like they're not making money, man. They're making good money in the console space. They're making good money, and it's that difference between the PC and console consumer where they're really able to get over on people. People that don't care to dive into the PC space, it's made it easy for the console manufacturers to get over on the consumer in certain areas. Whether you talk about Xbox making it to where you can only buy specific proprietary hard drive for their Xbox consoles, which, you know, like we saw here recently, a 1 terabyte hard drive for an Xbox console costs roughly $200, whereas a 1 terabyte solid state drive for any kind of like application, the PC, for example, is like $50 to $60, you know? And so you're talking about a huge markup just because they made it to where, you know, you can only buy the specific ones that will work for Xbox, you know? Or you want to talk about the console space, making it to where all of them do it. You know, if you want to play online, you've got to buy into their service, you know, to play online on their console. Whereas, you know, instead of it just being like, yo, you bought our platform, you bought our console, that means you bought into our platform and you can play online. No, it's not like that. You know, even though they're making so much money just off the hardware alone, we're not talking software sales or subscription sales or anything like that. This is just reporting on revenue from like their consoles, man. And it's, well, I guess the console gaming market. So maybe it is. It's not stating exactly everything that it's maybe that is the whole, you know, that's the whole market, but I don't know. It's not specific either. I was thinking it was just talking about hardware, but they might not just be talking about hardware. So I don't know. It's still a ton of money, man. And that's how they get over on the console space, the consumers in that console space, in my opinion. You know, they don't want to do anything for backwards compatibility. They want to make people pay over and over and over for the same thing, same software for new consoles, and, you know, no backwards compatibility. Pay for online multiplayer, even though you already bought into the platform, and it's just gotten really, really gross in my opinion. And for me personally, that's why I've strayed so far away from console over the past half decade. You know what I mean? It's just I see it as something that is just pretty gross, honestly. It's there's not a lot that's being done by the console space to like even reward people for being long-term, constant, loyal members of a platform or anything like that. Even PlayStation trying to do their Stars program had some really scummy, gross stuff going on, and I don't know. It's not like they're not making money, man. They're making a lot of money, and I know that it takes a lot of money for these big businesses to keep pushing and to keep going and stuff too. But it would be interesting to see, how much they're making as opposed to how much they're putting back into their business every single year. I don't know. For me, that's just the way I feel about it, though, as opposed to the PC space, which is, you don't have to buy the same software over and over again each time a new console comes out. Nintendo, and you rarely have to pay any kind of additional money to play a game online. It's but that's where they get people. There are people that just don't have the time or want or knowledge to dive into the PC gaming space, and they know that they've got people locked into that console, and if they want more out of it, they'll pay more for it. It's a lot of money. A lot of money. Asus says that this is the last article I have, guys. If you got anything to add, let me know, and we'll address it before we move on. Asus says the new ROG Ally gaming handheld is launching globally and soon. Yeah, so if you don't recall, this was announced on April 1st. So April Fool's Day, they Asus announced this almost like it was an April Fool's joke, and then afterwards they were like, haha, it's not a joke, which was a really weird play. But this is supposed to be something to rival the Steam Deck. I am not really believing this will be something on the same playing field as the Steam Deck, but we'll see. We'll just have to see after it launches. Yeah. When Asus announced its new handheld, the ROG Ally, it caused quite a stir thanks to the specs that positioned the Windows 11 gaming handheld as a direct competitor to Valve's Steam Deck. Sporting a full HD display with 120 Hz refresh rate, peak brightness of 500 nits, also features a custom AMD APU built on a 4nm process with Zen 4 and RDNA 3 architecture that Asus is calling the fastest to date in its class. With pre-order signups for ROG Ally in the US now live at Best Buy, Asus has confirmed that it will have a worldwide launch, and it may be sooner than you expect. A potential imminent launch is exciting news, especially when something like the Steam Deck is only available for purchase in certain regions. For example, the only models available in Australia are imports. Yeah. Yeah, you're good, buddy. Yeah, for sure. News of a coming release for the ROG Ally gaming handheld also raises the question of price. With Asus's premium Republic of Gamers branding often commanding a premium price point, the base Steam Deck model with 64 gigs of eMMC internal storage is available for $400 US, going up to $650 US for the top tier model with 512 gigs of NVMe solid state drive internal storage. Yeah, speculation, read educated guess, points to the ROG Ally being released with a similar price point to the most expensive Steam Deck, though we wouldn't be surprised if it launches higher than that. The ROG Ally can even provide a 50% bump in performance over the Steam Deck when in 15-watt power mode, compared to the Steam Deck in 35-watt power mode, running on Windows 11 with custom software and interface modeled after Asus's Armory Crate app. The ROG Ally will support all current PC launchers from Steam to Xbox Game Pass and Battle.net to those from EA and Ubisoft. To us, sooner than you expect implies a launch probably in the Q3 of this year or sometime before Q4 holidays. Here's something to keep in mind, though. Look, it's not just hardware that matters here. Yes, performance-wise, it's going to have more up-to-date, more current hardware within the Asus ROG handheld here. But one of the things that makes the Steam Deck stand out from a lot of products is it's built with quality. Even if something does go wrong, the replacement parts are very cheap and easy to get a hold of. You're not going to void your warranty by opening it up and replacing something yourself, unless you open it up and actually just destroy something, by being careless or what have you. You don't void the warranty on the Steam Deck just by opening it up and trying to fix things yourself or whatever. Inherently, they didn't make it that way, which a lot of manufacturers do nowadays. They've got a really good warranty system in place. They've got a good customer service system in place. And that's one of the things that you want to look into when you're buying any kind of significant cost product that I talk about all the time. You're not always, you need to take a look at what you're buying, not just in the realm of how powerful the product is or what have you. What else is coming along with it? How easy it is, what's the build quality? How easy it is to get replacement parts? What's the warranty? Things like that are all things you need to take into consideration when we're buying something of some kind of, even mediocre investment, and I think that the Steam Deck, Valve has done a great job with the Steam Deck on all those fronts. The only criticism I've really had about the Steam Deck is that it doesn't come with a dock. I feel like that's a pretty big oversight. They wanted to make an elaborate dock that had a lot of ports and wanted, they felt like people needed to pay for it. And you're absolutely right, Syke. Yeah. So I felt like they should have at least come out with some like real basic, easy to use and just default dock for the Steam Deck that should have come along with it at that price point. But all in all, that's about the only thing I could really say about it. They continue to work on the Steam Deck, make it better, and they're actually working on new versions of it to come out too. So the ROG is appearing to be better performance-wise, but you are probably going to have to pay a premium for this over the Steam Deck, as well as we don't really know anything about the build quality, ease of access, what it would take to get it repaired if you needed to repair it, things of that nature. So we'll keep track and see what comes, But my personal opinion is like right now, Steam Deck, if you're looking for a handheld PC device to use, the Steam Deck is where it's at, man. That is absolutely the play. And we're kind of waiting to see what they're going to bring to the table next for us, because they're already working on new development on new iterations of the Steam Deck too. So we'll see what comes. That's the jam, man. That's the news for today, April 17th. You guys rock. I appreciate you. We're going to move on, and we're going to play some Divinity with our buddy Pinky once he gets home. And until then, we'll probably do a little bit of Warframe stuff. Cool. So that's the jam-a-lam, man. So it'll be day 20 of Divinity. We're pushing towards some in-game stuff, man. So I don't know how many days we have left, but we've got a little bit of some crab game stuff coming up, actually. Yes, Ike. Yeah, dude. Yeah. It's good to see you, buddy. Thanks, man. So we'll talk about that maybe today while we play some Divinity. But there's a game that I found and Pinky and I were talking about, and we're probably gonna try out here pretty soon. It's got some crab action, so stay tuned. Stay tuned, and we'll talk about that. But to everybody that's part of the news segment today, thank you very much. Appreciate you being here and tuning in, and for all the people that contribute to the news on the constant, I appreciate it very much. And just to everybody that's part of what we do here in this community and creating such an amazing, safe, welcoming, inclusive space, dude, it means a lot to me. And I don't know. if anybody's checking out this content or any of the other video gaming news segments we've done previously, or episodes of playthroughs or clips, funny clips and stuff that we have out there on the YouTube channel or the Twitch channel, and you're enjoying that content, then I would say try and come hang out with us. We go live at 6 a.m. CST every single day. We always start off with video gaming news before we dive into whatever video gaming content we have planned for the rest of the day, and we have a great time here, and we would love for you to come be a part of it with us, all right? So other than that, stay healthy, stay safe, be kind to one another, and we will catch everybody tomorrow for April 18th's edition of Video Gaming News, and probably more Divinity as we finish up that gameplay, all right?